We're back with another installment of Lisi's News, Use, and To-Dos, where we ask legal marketing industry professionals the same four questions. What's going on in their world, how they see the industry changing, and their opinions about those changes, and lastly, advice they have for our audience. Today, I'm excited to talk to Rich Marsolais, the Business Development Director at McKee, Voorhees & Cease, PLC, a boutique IP firm in Iowa, and also the 2022 President of the LMA Midwest region. Thanks so much for being on, Rich.
Thank you, Taryn. Appreciate it.
Rich and I know each other from way back, it seems like. I met him when I first got involved with LMA, which was shortly after I joined legal marketing, and he's a big reason that I joined the LMA Midwest board and ultimately decided to become president of LMA Midwest. So I'm excited to see you take over the reins as LMA Midwest Region President for 2022 and see what you're going to do.
Yes, it's a very exciting time. And one of the big things and one of the things I'm very passionate about is our regional conference. And having been one of the co-founders of the Midwest Region Tech Conference, we're really excited that we're going to be doing a regional conference in 2022. We didn't do one in 2021, obviously, but we did one in 2020, virtual tech conference, which turned out exceptionally well. And so we're looking forward to that in 2022. Right now, we've got all the requests out to get co-chairs for it. I'm very excited for the new board that's coming on, and a lot of great people on that. And I'm just looking forward to doing all of that. I love what I'm doing here at McKee, Voorhees & Cease as a boutique IP firm. It's a different way of thinking and a different way of doing things. All of our attorneys have both advanced and science degrees. So all of them have either been engineers in the past or have science degrees and work for companies in the science industry. Our strengths, a lot of our strengths lie in patent work for in the mechanical electrical area. There's a huge amount of manufacturers here in Iowa that we do work for, plus we are worldwide for being such a small boutique firm. What's great is the head of our firm, our managing partner, Heidi Neville, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for and really love talking with her. Mm-hmm. She is wicked smart in the area of plants and plant technology. And when I first started there, when she said plant and plant technology, I thought that she was talking about the actual physical plants where you build stuff. No, this has to do with plants that grow things like corn. Yeah, and roses and all that sort of stuff. And we represent a lot of agri-tech companies that where we work on patenting and making sure their IP portfolio is up to date because things they grow, things they do, how they do it, other people want. And so to protect that is very important to us. We have a very extensive trademark group that does a lot of work in the trademark arena, copyrights as well. One of our attorneys represents a lot of different musicians and artists and all of that, which you call a little firm, artists, musicians. Yes, believe it or not. So it's a great place to work. Both working for, they encouraged me to be part of LMA, and are looking forward to me being president of LMA. They see it as important for us to belong to organizations, as do all of our attorneys, different organizations. One of the areas we are very big in is what we call technology transfer. And we represent a lot of universities in that arena because they're developing things that are really unique out there in the marketplace. And so being able to patent that and transfer it to use in the public world is really an exciting area to think about and work on. And it's a lot of fun. No day is the same. It changes on a daily basis. And what was your priorities yesterday changed to our different priorities now.
Well, it sounds like you found a good fit. And I actually interviewed at an IP firm at one point. And yeah, the amount of degrees and the amount of knowledge that people bring to IP work that is over and above their legal knowledge is just amazing. And it sounds like there's a lot of intricacy that you get to explore because IP work isn't just like I created a widget. There, like you talked about entertainment, you talked about agriculture. Like I had never really thought about agriculture, but that's a really good point. So that sounds really interesting. Like you've sold me working at an IP firm. I feel like I might have answered your first question for you, which was what's news. And we talked about your being president for 2022 of LMA Midwest, as well as your new role in Iowa. Is there anything else that we missed that you have to share for news?
No, I think that covers it at this point. Those are my two passions. And so I'm one of those people who believes that for LMA, if you aren't volunteering, you're missing out on so much.
I definitely agree with that.
And it doesn't have to be a heavy investment of your time. You can pick something that's simple, but we encourage everybody to volunteer because you get so much more out of it. And what's great about our board is we have somebody from Iowa, me, who's the president. We have two people now from Nebraska on the board. So we're expanding and growing in terms of people involved in leadership positions in LMA to other states. And it's not to discount our other areas in Michigan and Illinois and Indiana and Ohio and all of that. In Minnesota, it's just that we're now becoming very broad and we're really stretching across what is part of the Midwest region.
Which is good because that's what regionalization was all about when LMA implemented that 5 years ago. It's been a while. I was in the when they did it. And I really, that was always kind of our struggle. How do we reach everybody? And as much as in-person programming, whether that's attending a lunch or a regional conference, which I love the regional conferences, especially for people who maybe can't get to a national conference or, national conference can be a little more expensive. But as great as the in-person programming is, I'm really thankful to see all of the virtual programming options that we were starting to roll out. But then once 2020 hit, definitely became something to roll out. So I would imagine that has extended the reach of the LMA Midwest board to a lot of places in the Midwest where maybe there's only a handful of legal marketers.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we will jump right into our next question, which is, what do you see changing in the legal industry and what is that impact?
I think it's already happening. Although firms are asking their people to come back to the office, I'm seeing a lot of hybrid type situations, ours being one of them, where November 1st is our back to work day. People can work out options to work 2 days a week, possibly from home, and 3 days in the office. Obviously, with the setups we have and with the technology and what the firm has provided us, it makes it almost seamless, whether we're at home or at the office. It poses we've done it successfully now for over a year and a half, and it's been very beneficial to us during this time. IP has become very important at this particular point in time because not only in regards to patenting anything dealing with COVID, but everything else, people are becoming aware that, hey, I've got something here that I need to protect from an intellectual property standpoint. So we've had a real uptick in that type of activity. And it's that one question you have to ask when you've come up with this idea and you want to bring it forward, you want to bring it to the marketplace. And so I see that hybrid situation continuing. I don't think everybody will be back in the office possibly till the end of 2022. That's just my feeling. Events are starting to be in person, and I've attended some in-person events and it's been fantastic. It's like we're all best friends because we haven't seen each other for a long time. And although we may not know each other, just the ability to talk face to face with people has been incredible.
Yep.
Virtual events work out great. And especially with LMA Midwest, for the fact that I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, and Tanya Riggins in Omaha, and our newest board member, whose name escapes me, is also in Omaha. Doing remote programming works for us because trying to drive to any of the other locations and attend an in-person event is is just not practical at this point. And so doing this virtually has really worked well for us. And we've done some social events as well virtually, and they've worked out exceptionally well. People have get really creative. It's incredible. And the technology has just gotten better. And I think it's also accelerated the technology that people need to use to be successful in their job. So it's going to be an exciting time for the next year and a half, and will continue to be so. And you can, every day you read American Lawyer, there's a different news thing about the office and thoughts and what managing partners are doing and all of that sort of stuff. So,
yeah, I don't think we've seen the full shake out of that yet.
Right.
I think we're getting close to seeing where that's going to lead, and kind of, it's like the recessions that, happened several years ago. Like, a lot of really good things came out of it because we were forced to make pivots that we hadn't been forced to do before that. And so that's the same thing that's happening here. The technology upgrades across the board was something that was very accelerated for the legal industry profession last year into this year, but it's been really, really beneficial for a lot of reasons to move us forward.
Exactly.
Well, and on that note, speaking of things that should be happening, but are taking a little bit longer to implement or to actually see the changes being made, what do you think should be happening at a faster pace than we're currently seeing?
It occurs even in our firm is I just saw today on one of the feeds is reaching out to lawyers to see what they're doing, how they're doing it. Are they connecting with clients? Do they have a schedule in place to connect with clients? What's their client service model? I mean, what are they doing to service them better? What does the pipeline look like in terms of your business activities? So, we've seen a lot of that, and a lot of people asking for suggestions on that. A thing we don't do because we don't need to do, see a lot on retreats. And how do we bring attorneys together to talk to each other? And what are you guys doing from an in-person perspective versus what you're doing from a virtual perspective?
Yeah.
The other thing is, if you're not up to date on what the latest technology is, you need to. I don't care if you're the head of the firm, all the way down to the person, especially in our firm, who's filing patent dockets and patent applications. You need to be up to date on the latest technology and what's out there and available, and learn it.
Yeah.
I myself have had to learn a lot of things. I've gotten deeper into social media, especially with we do LinkedIn and Twitter, and also communicating with our clients and potential clients. We have our blog, which is we have someone weekly posting articles on it. Quarterly, we do our newsletter, which reaches out to our clients and key contacts as well. So there's a lot of things we're doing to stay in touch with people. And attorneys are asking me what they've got an idea on some ideas, and 9 times out of 10 we say yes, do it. It's a great idea. And there's a lot of initiatives we have going on. So there's a lot of moving parts here, but all of it, the big thing I always tell people, if you're not familiar with a particular piece of technology that the firm has, become knowledgeable, learn it, take the time, carve out time to be able to learn stuff like that. The other thing too is we belong to a legal network called Legis, just like you would any of the other ones that are out there. And connecting with those attorneys and that network has been very beneficial to us during this whole time, and will continue to do so.
Yeah, that's one, I love LMA and I love the information sharing, and people in LMA are extremely generous with what they share. But when I was in-house, we also belonged to a couple of different legal networks. And that's one of the things I really liked about that is the way those networks are generally structured. It's not people you're directly competing against. So there's already a level of information sharing among the attorneys. But for those legal networks that also have a marketing group, it's great to get to talk to people who are essentially doing what you're doing for the exact same type of firm that you're not competing with. And oftentimes you're already sharing clients that you can say, hey, what are you doing here? Or what idea did you have? Or let's work together on this. Or does anybody have this piece of information? And it's not awkward because you're not like, oh, like I want to ask my friend at the law firm next door, but like we compete in this area for work. So it's much nicer when you can be like, oh, I'm going to ask my friend 4 states over who doesn't compete with me for work and does the exact same kind of work. If they have this, and it's not awkward because more than likely they'll be willing to share it. And I've always found that to be a great benefit. So random piece of advice. If you are a legal marketer and involved at a firm that has a legal network and they have a marketing group, get involved in that, get to know the people there, because they are a wealth of knowledge directly related to what you are doing.
Sure. I absolutely agree.
And on that note, I offered my random piece of advice. No one asked that. But Rich, what advice do you have today for our audience?
So since you're so connected with the legal industry, this is a reach out to all of my legal marketing friends, is get involved with LMA, Legal Marketing Association. It's the plug. It's the shameless plug for LMA because I believe in it so strongly. And you will find so much benefit in doing so. And then the other thing is, as I said before, is make sure you're up to date and know all the technologies that are being utilized in the firm. Because as a marketing person, that's your job to know all of this stuff and what it does, how it does it, and how effective it is. And then the third piece of advice for any of our legal marketers is really find out what your attorneys are doing from a client service and business development perspective, because it's so important. I've come across so many people who do not, or for some reason, when you talk to an attorney and they say, well, we finished this matter with this client, never ask the question, so what's next? What's next on the horizon? Did you ask the client did you ask that attorney about that, about what's next?
Yeah.
And so it's very important that you stay up to date on what your attorneys are doing out there. And even for the large firms, it's important. And I know a lot of our CMOs and heads of marketing and all that are doing that and have a whole team below them that does all of that. For us solo marketers, we're it.
Yes.
We do everything from ordering, since we rolled out a new brand for our firm when I started on board, to ordering envelopes all the way up to doing targeting initiatives to help bring in business for the firm.
Well, and I love all 3 pieces of that advice. Longtime listeners of this show, which is really to say not all that long, we've only been doing it for several months, will know that almost every guest I've had on is someone that the story always starts. I met them at LMA when I started. Like, I have great professional relationships that I've utilized I've had 4 jobs in the legal marketing industry, and 3 of them were completely through connections that I had made in the legal industry and in getting involved. And that doesn't count, all the friendships that I've made as well. But you also talked about being up on technology, and in a big firm, you have an entire technology department, but in a small firm, usually there's one technology person, one IT person, one marketing person, one director of administration, one finance person. And so you're all kind of part of a lot of different teams, and it gives marketing a chance to step up to the plate and own things, especially if it's marketing technology. And then the last thing you touched on, client experience, client service, client success, which has been a passion of mine as well, because what happens after you bring the client on, and what did you do in the business development process that worked, so you can replicate it and the attorney next door can see if they can apply it to their business development efforts as well.
Sure.
And just keeping clients happy, because easier to keep clients happy than to have to go out and start the process from scratch. But if you do, it's nice if you have a process that you've established that works and written down. But it's really about the digging in and asking the second and third and fourth level questions, and not just the first questions.
Exactly.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for being
You're welcome.
On today's News, Views, and To-Dos. Hopefully your 2022 presidency finally sees us really back in person with LMA, with lots of lunches and regional conferences in person, in addition to the national conference. And I will see everybody on our next episode of News, Views, and To-Dos. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Taryn.